Being relevant in your field of occupation is proof that you are properly educated. When my parents and I were thinking about my university education, Bowen University Iwo was our first choice. Bowen University helps you to get the most of whatever course you're studying and also educates you on how to excel in a competitive labor market. From the day I arrived here, I knew when I would graduate, and my mind has been positively transformed since then, thanks to my able lecturers. My name is Salome. I am a medical student, a sanctuary keeper, and a violinist at Bowen University. To the medical world, remember my name.
Bowen University, for excellence and godliness.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Connect with Comfort. My name is Rotimi Itari, and I'm standing in for the host at the moment, and it's going to be a great time today. We're going to be having a great time together on the show today, and please understand today's show is an exceptional one, and we're going to be talking about something that most individuals, professionals, and probably business leaders have had one time or the other to deal with. We know that a lot of times people say I'm busy, people say I'm not available. A lot of people show that they're engaged one way or the other, but this topic tonight is going to deal with such scenarios where we're talking about busy but not growing. A lot of people are busy, but then what's the correlation? Does busy guarantee productivity? Does it guarantee performance? Does it ensure results? And does it mean that we are growing? Tonight, we're going to be finding out about all this. And we have a guest that is going to do this for us. He's an amazing individual who has also been able to help individuals in his capacity to be able to ensure that they deliver, on their greatness, as it were. He's been involved in so many initiatives. I know about him. He's widely known as the Apostle of Joy. And without wasting much time, I'm going to just show a little bit about the reason why we're bringing him here. Like I said, he's globally respected, and the subject matter area of mental wellness has brought him to show forth expertise. He's considered as a performance coach, and is a faith-based thought leader whose work bridges neuroscience, psychology, and human performance and faith. He's worked with individuals, he's worked with organizations, he's worked across different industry. Is the co-founder of Joyed Up, a global movement hosting transformation or transformative joy meetings. I would like for him to share about that when he comes on, but definitely we're going to be getting that. He's an occupational therapist, a certified happiness life coach, and is one who is a prolific author, media contributor, and features on several platforms that you all know, both Channels TV, Guardian newspaper, and the likes. I consider him as a builder of people and a restorer of joy. And tonight we have that singular honor on Connect with Comfort show to welcome an amazing individual who will be, taking the subject matter forward. We're going to go on a short break once again, and after that break, I'm going to be bringing our guest to you. But please, as you connect with us, please tell us your name and location, where you're streaming from, and let us know how we connect today. If you have questions, please get your questions ready, get your pen and paper ready, because our guest is already in the room waiting to be introduced to you all. Once again, welcome to Connect with Comfort show. See you in a bit. Stay connected. Don't go anywhere.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back, and like I said, this is Connect with Comfort show. I'm not Comfort Etai, but obviously we have the same surname. That's why I'm hosting on our behalf right now. Bolu Onosoya is our guest for today. Welcome, Bolu. Good evening.
You so much for having me. Such a pleasure to be here. I'm super pumped about it, and I know that's going to be great.
Fantastic. And just like I was introducing you, um, I was able to stress out a particular part of what you do. You're talking about joy, you're talking about happiness. I'm sure a lot of people are wondering. So there's a certification for that. Would you like to just introduce yourself by telling us a little bit in just like 60 seconds or less what you do and touch a bit on the happiness factor? Thank you.
Our work is majorly helping people to increase their performance. How? By being able to regulate how they feel, because we realize that a lot of people make decisions based off of how they feel. Well, I'm excited today. I want to go shop. So how do we increase your performance in life, not just in work? Because there are four performance areas for a human being. There's the activities of daily living, your grooming, your dressing, all of that. There's the work and productivity. There's leisure. There's rest. So how are we able to get people, as many people as possible, to perform highly, while being emotionally regulated, so that's basically what we do. And we're able to help people in the corporate space and individuals to navigate their emotions to be able to perform better.
All right, thank you very much. And just like I said, I'm just standing in for the host. I guess she's on standby. Let's see if we can bring her up before we start with the main question for the show.
Yay!
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
can.
loud and clear.
Very sorry. It's one of those things. Um, Good evening. Excuse me. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Distinguished guests, esteemed viewers, I'm delighted to welcome you to another exciting edition of our online learning leadership conversation, where we discuss practical issues that affect lives and leadership journeys. I thank you for joining us today from wherever you are in the part of the world. I remain Comfort Eyitayo, your regular host for Connect with Comfort show. On this program, we aim to add value to people of business enterprise and personal growth. Each show is organized to feature special guests who are subject matter experts that helps us to on the topic of the day. Once again, you are most welcome. I'm sorry for because I was stuck in traffic because of the heavy rain. Now we started, we hope it will be smooth running. Today's topic is one that speaks directly to many professionals, entrepreneurs, executive, business owners, and even students. Our discussion is titled Busy but Not Growing. Have you ever ended a day feeling exhausted, only to realize that despite all the meetings, emails, phone calls, reports, errands, and endless activities, you are no closer to your goals than you were 6 months ago? Many people are incredibly busy, yet they are not growing. Many organizations are active, yet they are not advancing. While many entrepreneurs are working harder than ever, yet businesses remain stagnant. So today, we will be exploring why busyness is not always a sign of progress, and how individuals and organizations can shift from merely being occupied to intentionally growing. So to help us to unpack this important conversation, we have an outstanding guest with us today who we have already met. I was going to say whom we shall meet. We have already met him. And I will just go straight to give us a brief bios about our special guest for today. Mr. Bolu Onosoya is our special guest for this show today. Bolu is widely known as the Apostle of Joy. He's a globally respected mental wellness expert, performance coach, and faith-based thought leader whose work bridges neuroscience, psychology, human performance, and faith. He helps leaders, organizations, and communities cultivate emotional resilience, clarity, and sustainable excellence in high-pressured environments. He is the co-founder of Joyed Up, a global joy movement hosting transformative joy meetings and conferences across Africa, Europe, and Middle East, creating safe spaces for unburdening, healing, and renewal. Through Joy Culture Enterprises, Bolu delivers excellent coaching, leadership retreats, and mental wellness consulting to corporate leaders, founders, and institutions. An occupational therapist and certified happiness life coach, Bolu is also a prolific author and media contributor with features on Channel TV, The Guardian, Nigeria Info, and other international platforms. At its core, Bolu is a builder of people and a restorer of joy. In his words, joy is not merely an emotion, it is energy for transcendental performance. And I'm glad to welcome on your behalf our special guest for today, Bolu Onosoya. You are highly welcome.
Thank you
Sorry for
very much.
the mix-up.
Thank you
We'll
very
try
much.
and make the best use of it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
So without much ado, I don't know if you have taken any of the questions. Have you?
None yet. None yet.
Oh, okay. So we start straight away that the phrase busy but not growing resonates with many people. What does it really mean to you?
I'm going to answer that question with a statistic that I heard a fantastic businessman say, Mr. Austin Okere. He said that about 3,000 startups in the US, after raising funds, closed up, raising fantastic about $27 billion. They then closed shop. He said that a lot of people are in the business of valuation and not value. So the thing about busyness and growth is that you are able to tell the difference between those chasing valuation and those chasing value. When people start up a business or they have a personal goal, they have value in mind. However, there's a possibility of getting distracted in activity that pursues valuation. Valuation is like noise in the marketplace without actual value being added to the society or to individuals. So what it means when we say business and not growth is that there is movement. You know, the characteristics of living things, as I learned when I was a child, they say Mr. Niger D. M stands for movement. And a lot of people are having movement without getting to the Niger part, the G part that says growth. So we see business as activity, as movement, but there is no depth, there is no value, there is valuation. So that is how I'm going to answer that, respond to that question, that business is valuation and growth speaks to value.
Fantastic. I've learned something today about valuation and value. It makes
Yes.
sense to me. Distinct. Thank you very much for that response. Why do so many people confuse activity with progress?
You know, I'm going to be really honest answering this question. The society today rewards noise. I listened to a musical artist. His name is YC. He was, having an interview like this. And he spoke to the presenters and he says, you see, there's something called Olodo uprising. That's how he called it. And he said Olodo uprising is that the society and the market in the entertainment industry is rewarding people that are not intelligently contributing, but they're just making noise. They're out there just doing skits, which is entertaining. However, they're not adding true value to the society so that we don't see intelligent contributions to society. The beauty of entertainment is that entertainment is a key ingredient to shaping culture. Now, if we say Nigeria is this and we want Nigeria to be better, in fact, look at it, you're stuck in traffic because Nigeria needs to be better. However, we have a society that is rewarding in terms of viewership, in terms of attention, people who are not intelligently contributing to that society. So the challenge we have with people being busy is there's a lot of activity. Everywhere I go to, somebody's shooting content, somebody's doing this and doing that, and that is excellent. That's beautiful. But we must be able to translate what we are doing into true value and not just noise. So anyone that wants to add true value into the society must be able to consider growth, because you're considering how does this develop the next person? How does this shape the culture of the society? How does this add true value to the society at large? So the more we contribute or reward laziness in terms of intellectual prowess, there was a viral comment of a business owner just recently, about a month ago. He, made a comment to say that Nigerians are great, are talented, but they're not contributing intelligently into the tech ecosystem. And there was a lot of backlash because people were saying, no, Nigerians are intelligent. What he's saying is that the market has a need, and we're not seeing enough Nigerians meeting that need. While Nigerians are being active online, being vocal online, they're not meeting the actual market needs. So what we are looking at is a situation where we have more people who are not just active, but actually contributing
Since the network has struck again.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Okay, we
Okay,
can hear you now. We can
you
hear
can
you
hear
now.
me now. Fantastic.
Yes.
So I said that the challenge is that the society now rewards a lot of busyness without true value. When I talked about the valuation and value thing, we have startups even in Nigeria closing down after raising lots of money, meaning that people are hearing their value proposition and investing in it, but there is no true value. So the guys are not translating their valuation into true value in the society, so they have to shut down. So the society currently is rewarding not true value but valuation.
Mm-hmm.
People are rewarding branding and outlook, and noise are not the true thing. The moment we start to reward people that have true value, then we are going to see more of growth than
Progress.
busyness. Yes.
Oh, okay. I think that even underpin the next question that I have, which talked about how can someone be genuinely hardworking and still remain stagnant?
Hard work is simple. Once you're working and you're putting your energy into it, that's hard work.
Mm,
Hard work, just like I said, Mr. Niger D, there
mm,
is movement, and people can be moving without growing.
yeah,
How do you grow? You grow by being fed. It's by the information that comes into your mind, the kind of exposures that you have. Those are the things that mark growth,
mhm,
not just movement. So a lot of
mhm.
people are moving without experiencing growth. They're going from point A to B. They're putting out a lot of content online. They're showing up at work, but their showing up does not translate into true value. So what we need to do, we don't say don't be hardworking, but you got to work smart. Always look at the society. What is the market requesting, requiring? What skills are needed now? Do you see it? So when I'm working hard on what is past, then I'm not adding value. That's what happened with Kodak. They were working hard in creating a lot of cameras, but it wasn't the kind of cameras people needed. So they closed shop. So what we're saying is, we're not saying don't work hard. We're saying work smart. See the need of the
Yeah.
society and upskill to meet needs. That's where true value is. That I have a need for something and there's somebody who can provide a solution to my problem. That is value. It is not just activity. So don't work hard if you're working out of what the society needs. Work hard when you are actually adding value to the next person.
Very correct. Very correct. So I think at this point we need to know signs, signs of what a person who is just being busy and not actually growing, so that people will know when they see this sign that this is something they need to avoid.
There's a quote I will use to answer that. And the quote says, one of my mentors says it,
Okay.
that when your presence is not felt, then when your absence is not felt, then your presence is not needed. I'll say that again. When your absence is not felt, your presence is inconsequential. So how do you know that there is a growth problem here? Redundancy. Redundancy. I saw a movie recently. It was a story, a movie on the life of Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple. And he had a group of friends who they started the business together, Apple, solving problems. But at a point when the business started to grow, one of his friends was not growing. One of his friends was sticking around, showing up every day, doing what he was told, but was not moving with the tide, wasn't moving with the market. So one day, Steve Jobs says, you know what, this guy has no share in this company. Do not commit any share onto this guy. Why? Because I can get 1,000 people to do exactly what he's doing. The guy became redundant. He wasn't adding true value to the company any longer. His absence was not felt, so his presence became inconsequential. So how do you know that you have a growth problem? Is when your absence is like everybody continues as normal day, even when you don't show up. That is an indicator that you need to grow. The market will always speak. The society will always tell their needs. People will always have problems. The challenge is when you no longer meet people's problems, it's an indicator that life has moved. People have progressed and you have stayed right where you were. So it's important that you get feedback. If 10 people used to come to you for solutions and then they're reduced to 2 people, that is an indicator. That feedback is an indicator that you need to grow. Either you need to provide your solutions in a better way, or you need to find another solution another problem to provide solutions to. So the society, the market will always give you feedback for every value that you propose or you project. What you must do is take that feedback as your indicator for growth or for doing something better. So every individual must know, everyone joining online must be able to tell that life is giving you feedback every time, every comment. You did something for somebody and they made a comment, oh, you didn't do this, or I expected this. That is feedback for growth. That is telling you you need to be able to do something better. I told somebody recently that excellence is not always noticed, but the absence of excellence is quickly indicated. That when you deliver excellence, sometimes people don't know that they might just be experiencing you and experiencing the value that you bring and enjoying it without giving you a feedback to say, oh, I noticed you did this. However, when you do not give excellence as you used to give it before, that gap will be quickly noticed and you get a feedback. The moment you're starting to get feedback from people to say, or from companies to say, you didn't do this or you didn't do that, that is an indicator that you need to grow.
Thank you very much, Bolu. That is well said. With that, you'll be wondering, why do you have are you with me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm with you. Yes, I can hear you clearly. Well, I think the network is bad now. I can't hear you. Wow. The network is scrambled again.
Hello?
Okay, I can hear you now. Oh, it's gone off again.
Godo, I'm so sorry. Can you hear me now?
Oh, okay, I can hear you now.
Okay, so sorry. The movement from the car inside caused this disruption. So I was saying that with all that you have explained, which is very clear, why would some companies celebrate busyness instead of outcome? Because you have made it very clear to us that it is the outcome, that is the solution we are providing, that matters. It's not the level of activities that we are engaged in. What is the outcome of that activity? Yet you have organizations that celebrate business, that is our activity, instead of the outcome. Why is that so?
Mama, I said that earlier. I said that the society rewards noise.
Mm,
The
okay.
society rewards business. So that when a company, and let me just put this out there. This is a personal experience. I have an organization called Joyed Up, and we've had fantastic meetings within and outside Nigeria. We call them joy meetings. It's just a platform for people to unburden, and people
Mm,
come together from all walks of life, and they're sharing personal experiences and all of that stuff. And we've had meetings, fantastic, in London, in Turkey, great work. However, this year we thought, away from the noise, we need to be able to not just grow but amplify what we're doing, replicate what we're doing in more places. We need to be more strategic in raising leaders to be able to execute. We have a framework. It works every time that we do it. So what we do? We shut down our meetings and we started an academy. The academy is supposed to raise the leaders who will then give us exponential results.
mm,
Why? Because we're not really thrilled by the noise. I've walked into rooms and been celebrated in places because of the work that we've done in having meetings in different parts of Africa, in Kenya, in Dublin. We've had that. But that's noise if we're not able to translate that into true value. If we're having clusters and we're not growing in our numbers. So what do we need to do? Let's pull people into a system to help them to learn the framework of how to be able to create such rooms so that we then come back to add value. That is what we're saying, that we have some organizations who understand that true value is what encourages longevity. Longevity will stand by the person with true value, not the person with noise.
yeah.
That is why you will see companies today who have great numbers. The second example I'm going to give you, Mama, can you imagine that a few weeks ago we were celebrating Elon Musk as the first trillionaire in a very long time, the only trillionaire that we have in the world today. But a few days ago, I saw that the valuation of a company in SpaceX dropped. They lost $600 billion.
Wow.
$600 billion. Valuation dropped. Why? Because valuation and value is different. One can ride on the waves of noise to earn profit. I can gain more investors by just projecting not what I am doing, but what I intend to do. But the true test of longevity and value is in what you're actually doing to solve problems for people, not what you're saying. Do you see? There's a difference between solving the problem and doing a marketing campaign. A lot of us do campaigns and we're not solving actual problems. So, yes, companies will do it because it translates to them to profit if they're able to make as loud a noise of what they're not actually doing, but what they intend to do. But the true test of longevity of preferring solutions is in adding actual value and not just noise. Are you able to hear me, ma'am?
Have you landed?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, the last bit was a bit
Okay. So
okay.
what I said,
Okay.
I shared
Thank
two
you very much.
examples.
And actually,
Okay, please
yeah,
go ahead, man.
I heard the first example very clearly. I said I heard the first example very clearly. The second example is what I missed out because the line was breaking.
So I used the example of Elon Musk and the drop in
Okay.
the
Yeah.
valuation of
Mm.
SpaceX losing 600 billion. You know, I also shared our own personal. I mentioned that the society rewards noise, but the true test, how that you're able to see that a company, an individual is going to last long, is not in how loud they are, but how much they're adding value and how many people they're adding value to. So a lot of people are loud online, and as a business, the louder you are, the more customers you are able to acquire. So cost of acquiring customers, fantastic. However, the true test of a business is how many customers you're able to maintain, how many customers you're able to keep over a long period of time. That tells that you are actually adding value. I read a book by a woman called Cynthia Montgomery, who leads one of the trainings in Harvard. And what she said, she asked a question that if your business shuts down today, how long will it take for your customers to find a replacement? How hurt will they be by your business shutting down? And that applies for an individual as well. How quickly can you be replaced in your place of work? That is the true test of value. However, the society can celebrate noise. Why? Because that's what they're seeing, that's what's gaining their attention. But whatever stands the test of time is the true test of value.
Thank you very much. So how much of this what we are talking about, people being busy without actually creating value, that could be as a result of poor goal setting? How much of this is a result of poor goal setting?
To be sincere, I think that whether you're busy or you're growing, you're meeting a goal. Some people can be busy hitting targets. They are setting goals and they're meeting their goals. However, those goals might not be translating into true value. A growth indicator is in the value that you are adding. You can be setting goals and hitting those goals without adding value to anybody at all. So goal setting
Wow.
is sort of like behavioral modification for you to be able to achieve something. What translates into value is growth. My ability to be able to tell what you need and to meet that need shows that I've moved from just observing to problem solving. That's growth. However, I can set a target to say, I want to gain 200 followers tomorrow, and I'm busy, but my followers are not translating into customers as a business. So you can set goals and achieve goals without actually adding value to the bottom line. So there is the principle of prioritization. It's like a quadrant that helps you to know what is important, what is urgent, what is not important. A lot of people can set goals on what is not important and achieve those goals, and it's not translating into true value.
Very true. Very true. So, how important is technology in either worsening
or helping this situation?
I believe that technology is an amplifier. Technology does not set the tone, it amplifies it. If I want to waste my time being just busy, technology will help me. If I want to grow, technology will help me. The question is, what are you focused on? What are you seeing? What is your vision? What's in your peripheral view? What's in your actual focus? Technology will amplify whatever you want. There are people today that spend hours on TikTok enjoying people's entertainment. They're using technology to while away time. The other people, we are here adding value to people using technology.
Sure.
So technology is an amplifier of whether you're wasting your time or being busy or you're adding value and growing.
Fantastic. That resonates very well. We have a contribution from one of our regular audience, Bayo Banjo. He asks, what practical steps can an organization take to shift its culture from being task-driven to being result-driven?
I'm very excited about that question. It's such a fantastic question. I'm glad that it's also from the context of organizations and culture. Culture is a way of life, a way in which individuals collectively respond to a problem, live their lives. So within the context of an organization, the culture of an organization is the procedure, the framework, the view, the worldview with which the individuals in that organization view problems and solve problems. Now, you can be task-driven or result-driven, meaning that you can say, let us just do something, or you can actually have value that you are, and there are value markers, right? How do we know that we are solving problems? How do we know that our valuation equates to our value? That is, in that framework is where you shift the thinking of the individuals from I just showed up at work to I solved a problem. There are people that just show up and don't solve actual problems. They mark their attendance. They are there. You can see them in the organization. They are showing up. But after they go, the problem still persists. So you need to, in shifting the culture of the organization, you need to emphasize, what did you do? What did it translate into? Not just what did you show up or not.
Yeah.
Do you know, I learned in my physics the definition of work done. And work done, and that definition stuck because at this age I still remember it, even though I learned it many years ago. That work is said to be done when force is applied on an object and the object moves in the direction of the force. That's his physics. That work is said to be done when force is applied on an object and the object moves in the direction of the force. I show up at work. When I learned that, my teacher told me that if you are standing on a chair and the chair is not moving in the direction of your weight, you are not working. So if I'm applying myself to something, I'm given a task and I'm applying, and it's not translating into the problem, the solution I require, the result I require, I am not yet working. So when you're shifting the culture or the mindset of the people in an organization to say that if you have not yet gotten your result, you have not yet worked. Because people say, oh, did you go to work? Yes, I went to work. No, you have not worked. People are sweating, but there are no results. So what do you need to do? First of all, you need to help the thinking, because culture starts from thinking. You need to help people to think that showing up does not translate to working. Result is what translates to working. And you must teach people, I showed up. That is not work. What did you achieve today? What did you achieve this week? What are your KPIs, your key performance, indicators? What are the things that indicate that you performed?
Yeah.
If you are meeting it, kudos. If you're not meeting it, you have not worked. So showing up is not working. Working is when, this is physics, when you apply yourself to that work and that work moves in the direction to which you're applying it. That is work. I hope I'm able to answer that. Answer the question.
For me, it's a good answer to that question. I just hope the person that asked the question also agrees with us. It's very clear that you just have to be productive. There must
Yes.
be an outcome, not just filling a space and not just showing up at work or, like he said, marking attendance. It is what you do with your presence being there. You might as well not be there if you are only marking attendance, because the organization will not feel your absence.
Yes.
So that's part of what we've been told. So it's important for us to have something that tangibly point out to, this is what I achieved by going to work today. And then cumulatively, that will result to something we desire for the organization, for individual, in terms of progress, growth, outcomes. Thank you very much for that. Now, you mentioned earlier on that people need to distinguish between what is urgent and what is important. So how do we do this? And then some people are reacting to urgent matters. So we must be able to find that distinction to know if, because this is urgent and you are reacting to it, does that make it important?
No, I mean, that a thing is urgent does not make it important. What makes a thing important is how much it shifts you from where you are now to where you want to be. How much a thing can shift you to where you want to be is what indicates that this thing is important. There's a simple quadrant that we use to be able to determine how to prioritize our time. And the quadrant, just like that, on the right, on the corner here, if you can see on the screen, you can have important and urgent. Urgent means you need to do it now. It requires your attention now. If it doesn't get your attention now, there's trouble. All right? That is urgent. Important means that this thing is critical to moving me to where I need to be, where I desire to be. If I have a goal, I have a vision, how does the more critical it is for it to move me to that vision or to that goal, the more important I classify it as. So we have important and urgent things that you must do immediately, because this thing requires your attention now, and it is going to bring you closer to your goals. You must do that immediately. Now, on the other hand, we have things that are urgent but not important. Urgent means requires your attention now, but not important, meaning that it is not consequential in bringing you to your bottom line. It is not consequential in bringing you closer to your vision. What do you do with such things? You delegate such things because it's important, it's urgent. It requires your attention. However, it doesn't take you closer to your goals. What do? You find somebody within your organizational framework to do it for you. Oh, I need to buy something now before the shop closes, but you're currently on a live. So what do? You ask someone to get it for you. That you can delegate because it's not helping you achieve this alive right now. However, it's urgent because the shop is about to close. Now, so we have urgent and important, which you must do right now. We have urgent and not important, which you must delegate. Now, we have on this lower part, We have important but not urgent. There are things that will draw you closer to your bottom line, but they don't require attention now. Such things you can schedule. You schedule what is important and not urgent. Because it's important means you have to do it. You can't delegate. If you delegate it, they might not do it the way you would have done it. So you put yourself to it. It's important, but you schedule it because it doesn't require attention now. And the things that are not important, not urgent, just forget about those things.
Thank you very much. The time is really, really fast spent. I will try to squeeze in just one for just 1 minute. One more question, even though we have so many unattended to. If someone is listening to us today and he realizes that he or she has been very busy but not growing, what should be the first thing that such person should do tomorrow morning or the next minute we finish?
Tomorrow morning, take some time out. Just be quiet. You see, our physical environment mirrors the state of our mind when we're too used to noise and activities. And I'm telling you that some people are actually busy with activities because they're afraid of being quiet. They're afraid that when they are quiet by themselves, they will see how empty they are. I'm telling you, I've sat with people over and over again, and I see a lot of people just finding activity just to quieten, just to create noise in their head. But just take some time tomorrow morning, be quiet. Take half an hour. Don't say anything. Just be quiet. Start to sit into yourself. See yourself. Look into your own eyes if you have a mirror. Where am I? Why am I here? Am I close to where I desire to be? What have I been doing for the past 1 week, 1 month, 1 year? How has it drawn me closer to the goals I have set? Start to evaluate, because you cannot solve a problem you cannot identify. You cannot solve a problem you cannot recognize. So first of all, take time to be quiet. And I tell you, the first 5 minutes will be the most difficult 5 minutes in your life, because the noise, you will just want to do something. You want to pick up your phone, you want to talk to somebody, you want to do this, but just be quiet. When you're quiet, the real issues start to show themselves. And I wish I could just tell you a little bit of neuroscience here, that the structure of the brain called the thalamus is the distribution center of the brain, distributes information either to the cortex where we are thinking, critical thinking, or to the emotion center where we are feeling. Now, when the faster pathway is the emotional pathway, the slower pathway is the critical thinking pathway. That's why many times we respond emotionally before we do critical thinking about anything that happens to us. So something happens, there's an emotional high, there's anger, there's this, before you critically think about what actually happened. So what we must do is to take time to go through that slow pathway of critically thinking, executive functioning, judgment. What have I been doing? How does it translate into value for the next person? That is now the beginning of solving the problem.
Fantastic. I wish we can continue. This is not the right day that we should have all this hiccup about traffic, about connectivity, but all the same, we've been able to achieve something. I'm sure our audience are happy with the great insight you have shared with us today. Bolu, I really want to thank you. This has been for me an exceptional session, even though it's mad with all this connectivity problem, but not the same. It's been value. It's of value, not just valuation. It's of great value. Thank you very much. Today's discussion reminds us that movement is not always progress. Being
Yes,
occupied is not the same as being productive. being productive is not necessarily the same as growing. So we need to really be able to distinguish between those three uh, areas to examine what we are having. Growth happens when our activities align with clear goals, like our special guest told us. If you are standing on a chair and the chair or the force you are applying to something is not moving in the same direction, then it may not achieve what you want. So it should be aligned with clear goals, measurable outcomes, and long-term purpose. The challenge before each of us is not to fill our calendars, but to focus our efforts on what truly matters. We must continually ask ourselves, what am I building? What am I becoming? What result am I aiming at or creating? Because at the end of the day, growth is not busyness, is the true measure of progress. So once again, I want to thank our special guest. He has done wonderfully well despite the hiccup. And while you were on it, I noticed some people joined. Quickly mention the name Bayo Banjo that contributed through that question. Ibrahim Adeshino also joined from Lagos, and Lanre Onosoya, perhaps maybe somebody related to you, joined us.
That's my wife.
And your wife.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, madam, for joining us. And Dr. Aseyin also joined us from Abuja. Is one of our regulars to also contribute normally on our show. Taiwo Ojo joined, and a host of others. Because of time, I will not be able to mention you, but I appreciate all of you joining. I hope you have Desalu Abiodun also joined. I hope you've all gained as I have on today's session. I'm just going to appeal to Bolu to find a way of fitting us in his busy calendar one way or the other. Sometimes he still needs to come back, because I'm sure there's so much to tap from his wealth of experience. And honestly, I appreciate you. You've done wonderfully well for us. I appreciate all our audience for joining us. Please, don't just listen to all this. Let's take action. Let us apply it. That's the essence of this show, to make people grow, to impact people positively. It's only when you apply it that it can actually achieve that aim. Remember the scenario of the chair or the force that our guests have told us. So I've learned quite a lot today. So I thank every one of us, and I want to say, please let us remain focused. Let us be intentional and keep growing. We are not to be interested in noise making. It is what gives us progress that we should be interested in. We have been able to dissect what is important from what is urgent and what is noise. So on that note, I want to say, till I come your way again, please stay safe, keep growing, and we'll come your way next week with another wonderful topic. Hopefully, we'll also learn a thing or two from that. Thank you, everybody. As I say goodbye, it's time that is ticking. I wish I can continue. Thank you very much, Bolu. You've been wonderful today, and thank your wife for sharing you with us. Thank you very much, Lanre. Appreciate.